Welcome back. Right, so the Rolls Royce of little Christmas stars, or Matariki stars, or as my husband calls this, the coronavirus, because it kind of, looks a little bit like it, doesn't it? This is basically just points in all directions. Rightio. So, what we need is 12 strips of paper. These are about 42 centimeters long and a centimeter wide. Obviously, the wider you wanna, or the bigger you want to make this, the wider the paper needs to be, but the longer it needs to be as well. So you have to have a bit of a play around with how you can, cut it, and if you have a guillotine, how much length it can take. So the first thing you want to do, I use 4 different colors, but you can make it in any color variation. It has no bearing on it. So the first thing we do is just like before, as for these ones, right? We have these strips, and I already cut the tips a bit on an angle. It does help with threading things through. So we make these into halves. Right, now we're working for a start in 2 lots of 6. So what I'm doing is I use 3 of each color. Right, here we go. So this one goes across, turn it around, next one, like so. Turn it around again. Green one goes on the outside first, and then through this one. It does become a little fiddly, this whole process, but that's right. Turn around. This one here, on the outside and through the inside. And last but not least, this one starts on the outside and goes through the middle on this one. Right. And then all you need to do is kind of pull them, towards each other. So they're basically a simple over one, under one, as we would do in a lot of other weaving as well, right? So that's one done. And then we do the same with these. So put that aside. Same sort of thing, start like that. Outside, turn around. Right. This one goes over both. Turn around again. This one goes above both, or around both, but in the middle. Oops, come here. In the middle through this one. Right. Turn around again. Now this one goes above or around these two, but through the middle of those 2 red ones. Oops, come here. So that's the most fiddly part. Oops, there you go. And then last but not least, the very last one goes around both red ones and through the end here. Comes out again. you go. Right, and then as before, we just pull them towards each other and tighten them up a little bit. So there is no specific way of laying the color or anything. I just had these strips as they were. Right, so we've got our two little things, right? So the next we do is we join these two. So joining these two, we need to pull this one. See, there's always two. Pull this one back temporarily, and that one we thread through the first one here. Only through the first one. Alright. And do the same on that side. Green. Oh, funny cut. So that one goes through that first one here, right? And then you just pull those two sides together, right? You see that? So now they're joined. And then you grab it, and then you do the same with these two. So you basically do this, like so. So put the red into the first orange, right? And that green here, that first green, goes into that blue. Right? Same sort of thing, pull until they join nicely. And what you then have is, you form it a little bit, and you have a little square. Can you see that? I'll pull these out of the way. Oops, there you go. You see that? It's a little square hole. Now we need to close these two sides. And the best way of doing that basically follows the same principle as what we've done with these ones. We're just folding things over. Over one, under one is the main principle here, right? And because we still have, you know, two on each. So all we need to do is, so we put the innermost across, and then the next one, and the next one, right? And that last one here, that gets tucked in. Oh, gets tucked in here. So sometimes it's easier if you loosen it up a little bit and just go through like that. And then you can tighten it again. Right? So there, well, there you go. Now that side is closed. Now we do the same thing on this open side. This one here. Now if you have done a couple of these other stars, this will be, you know, very, very easy to achieve. But, you know. And speaking of those other stars, so now what we need to do is we need to make these points. Now, basically what this at the moment is, it looks like a dice. It's got 6 sides. So we need to make points on all 6 sides. Right? So we've got them, you know, lined up. There you go. And so we just pick a side where we want to start. So fold it like 90 degrees. Leave a little gap, right, like so. Fold it in on itself, like so. And then tuck it in. Same as before. I always hold that little tip and be very careful when you, sorry, I just gotta, right. Next one, so fold it in on itself, right. And down again, leave a little gap, see there, fold it in on itself to form a little triangle, that's our little tip. And oops, sometimes they don't want to. If it doesn't want to, you might want to use either a little needle or something just to open it up a little bit. There we go. Same thing, hold on to the tip and gently pull. And I really mean gently, otherwise you end up starting again because you might want to rip something. So again, on itself, leave a little gap. Okay. Last but not least, on this side, now if you have well, either made some of those stars before or you have woven before, this is quite familiar and it should be relatively easy to pick up. This is a true beginner project though. Right, so now we've got, you see that? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So on that side. So we need to repeat this process on all 6 sides. Basically, you always start with, in this instance here on the left, you know, because we need to tuck it in somewhere, so you can't do it on that one because you can't tuck it in. Alright, so got little tips on all 6 sides. Can you see that? It's a bit hard, you know, like with all the other strips. But basically, if you go around and you have one of these little spikes on each corner, then you're on the right track. So now we need to fill the space in between them. And in order to do that, there's a couple of little tricks that we can do. So a trick I've been shown is just to kind of twist these around on one side for a start, right, like so. Go around, do those 4, just on one side for starters, right. Right, there you go. So I've just, okay, see, like they're all just basically turned behind, and then all you need to do is grab one and tuck it in like so. Okay, and pull. And you've got to be careful that you don't. There you go, and there's your first little tip. There. Do that with the next one. So this one, just grab it. Oh, this one probably needs a bit of a. There we go. So it's like this. Grab it underneath the lot, hopefully. No, it doesn't want to, so I need to be a little bit more persuasive. Sometimes they just don't want to go. That's what makes these a bit more difficult. Right, I can see it. There we go. So they come in, you see there's this little, tip, and they come right in the middle of these. That's where they come out. And then you just need to gently, again, gently pull. So that one, again, it does help cutting them a bit on an angle. There you go. Through there. And then, see that? It's coming, there it is, right in the middle there, and you just pull it. There you go. There we go. Takes a bit of persuasion, that one. So there you go. You've got your little loop. There you go. So you've got your 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 little points now. See that? So you need to repeat that same process on all, remaining 5 sides. So I just always turn them over, and so same sort of process. So you have these 4 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you turn them in on themselves, so to speak. Go around like so. They're already a bit battle hardened, those ones. Right, and that one, and then so this one here, you just grab it like so, and just tuck it in like that. I can already see that that's not going to happen. So cut it down a bit, put that out of the way, and then it goes through here and comes out. Can you see that? There it comes out, right? And then gently keep pulling until you have a nice little tip. Rightio. So I've made these little points on all 6 sides. There you go, and all that needs to be done now is cutting off the excess, and you can see I had to sort of help these along a little bit, because when they don't want to go somewhere, they don't want to go somewhere, so carefully cut those leftover bits off. And then you've got your little kind of star ball, whatever you want to call it, coronavirus, because it looks like it. It makes a brilliant cat toy, by the way. So if you want to either make one for your own cat or maybe help out any shelters out there, they're always on the lookout for cool toys. My cat definitely loves this one, chases it all over the house. But yeah, so you cut the excess off. Obviously, you wouldn't do it in front of a camera, so you can use a smaller pair of scissors and be a little bit more careful than I am here right now. But that's essentially it. Or you can leave these on, you know, and use them as, you know, as hangers or as ribbons. Up to you. Right. So here you go. And you can still manipulate those little, you know, corners. So we basically went from this to that, right, to this, all with paper. And it's kind of a cool thing for kids to do, you know. You can, although it's a bit fiddly with this one, but yeah. Be a little creative every so often. Happy weaving, everybody.